V'Yizah Hashem Parshas Matis Masei Tavshin Pei Gimel. Chavis Alovis in Perek Daled. After, it's pretty much in the beginning, after he discusses the concept that a person, even though he knows that the Hishtadlus can't really bring in Parnasa, he has to do Hishtadlus anyways. So he goes on further discussing this concept, but in a different area in life. The area of the life itself, meaning when a person is in a sakona, person is in danger, so the person tends to choose one out of two mahalchim, or anxiety, to totally lose it because you're trying to save yourself. The other is people that you just give up, and they're like, Hashem should do whatever they want, and it's good. Hashem is going to do whatever Hashem wants anyways, so let me just sit back and watch the show. That's what they were told when it came to Shaduchim of the children. Hashem is going to do whatever He wants anyways, you just sit back and watch the show. So they do it, Zal Hashem to whatever. And the Chavis Avos comes along to teach us none of them are the right mahalach at all. Mitzad Echad, the person shouldn't be in any pressure, under any pressure and lachatz and anxiety when they are in danger. And on the other hand, they are mechuyev, very strongly mechuyev, to see whatever they could do to save themselves and do ishtadlas. And the Chavis Avos brings many rayas from the Psukim. One of them is a famous raya when the Eibishter told Shmuel to appoint David, David should become the Melech. At that time, Shaul was the king, and what it meant was that Shmuel should go undermine the kingdom of Shaul, and they would have definitely killed him. And Shmuel told the Rebbeinu Shalom, what, I should go to David and appoint him as a king? Eich eilich v'shoma Shaul v'orgeni. How can I go? Shaul's going to hear about it. Of course he's going to kill me because I'm appointing a different king instead of him. And the Chavis Avos says, what does that mean? If Hashem told you to go, how do you tell Hashem that you're scared or that you don't want to do it? And even more, we see that Hashem replied, instead of saying, that's what the Chavis Avos says, instead of saying, what do you mean? Ani omes v'achaye. I'm the one that's in charge of life, and I could decide if you're going to make it or not. Why are you telling me that you're scared? Hashem was proud that Shmuel was worried about what's going to be, and Hashem gave him a good idea. You should take eglas bokor, tikach biyodecha, you should take a behema, and you should say you're going to be makar of a korban, and like that nobody's going to chap what you're really planning to do, and that's the mahalach, how you're going to save yourself. Nobody should chap that you're really going to David HaMelech and you want to make him king. So the Chavis always says, what's pshat? Elomai, you see from the Psukim that every person is mechuyev to care and to be aware of any type of danger and try to make sure that they're not on a sakona in any way. And if they neglect that and they just do whatever they feel like, or they don't care about the sakonas, they should know if something happens to them, it's going to be called retzicha, because they put themselves into that matziv. It's like they killed somebody else. It doesn't make a difference that you happen to be that person. It's like you killed somebody else. And even if Hashem is going to save you, you should know it's going to cost you a price, because the schusim, because a person that was in a sakona needed a nes, and it means that it could be a lot of mitzvahs that you did. Instead of getting schar, you have been paid that Hashem had to go and save you. So once again, when we hit this sugya, it's much easier to talk about it, that it's a concept. But when we try to analyze how the nefesh feels, it seems to be impossible to have this type of rotzon. That means a person should be in a matziv, and on the one hand, he shouldn't have any anxiety, any fear of moves, of not making it, and at the same time he should be doing everything in his power to save himself. it's command apostle for a person, because we're reaching or we're touching against something that we have mentioned, but then we spoke about it when it comes to different forms of ishtadlus, trying to make money or whatever it is. But now we have to focus, because here it gets a little bit more delicate. It's a little more able to understand the concept. How is it possible? Let's zoom out from the words of the Choves HaLevavos and try to understand, how is it possible to have that kind of state of mind? That means a person should picture themselves that they chas v'sholem, a doctor diagnosed them with a situation, and the doctor says, I don't know, is how much percent, maybe 40% you're going to make it, or 50-50, because better that it's 51, people go into a matzav that, yeah, the doctor said it's good, but let's say the doctor says, I don't know, 50-50, or certain percent, but I can't tell you what's going to happen. So now, b'derech klal, what happens to the person is that they juggle both wrong mahalchim back and forth, and b'chlal they don't even touch for a second the right mahalach. It's very challenging. It's extremely challenging, which means that they feel like sometimes they have better days, sometimes they have days that they're down. They don't want to get out of bed b'chlal. The better days is like, or totally living in denial, one mahalach, living in denial that everything is good, or the better days, the person is happy. Usually is because they're convinced things are going to be good. But when they're down, or it's anxiety, or it's they just decided it's good. Hashem could take me, I'm done, do whatever you want. But how does a person have the reality, the way it is, exactly the way it is, the reality of a state, and they're trying, they're doing effort, making phone calls to doctors, trying to get hold of that number. Who has that number? And they're trying to get an appointment, and the appointment is only half a year, and they have to be maf'il, the biggest askonim, to try to get an appointment now, and it's almost not possible. And at the same time, the Hashem is doing whatever He wants anyways, so why am I making myself crazy? I believe in Hashem, I trust in Hashem, so why am I pushing and trying to get this? And this is only one example. And then you have different situations of danger, where a person, let's say they're driving, and they're in a rush, and they want to go in the shoulder, and this, so the walk, okay, shoulders, the least of the problems, but passing a red light or whatever it is, things that's a emes sakona, a real sakona, and a person has to have a gewaltige yishuv adas to be able at the same time feel that everything, I should do whatever I could, and I should be as calm as I'm calm. You need a gewaltige, but if you're more shal to live, so why am I trying so hard? Why am I pushing? But I'm mechuyev to push. So that brings us back to the topic that we discussed about 2 months ago, a bit more. 3 months ago, but we learned it in different areas, and now we have to see how this could apply in this area of Ishtadlus. So a bit of Chazorah. Let's review the concept. We have learned that why does a person daven so hard? I'm not supposed to just trust the Rebbeinu Shem. The Rebbeinu Shem is doing whatever they want. So we met a piece in Pri Ha'oretz. We saw this shtickle. The Pri Ha'oretz says that a person has an inner rotzon, and the inner rotzon of the person wants what the Rebbeinu Shem wants. But in order to reveal that should be, it should get exposed. The person should actually be able to feel it. They need to dig on that rotzen, and you do that by davening. You daven, we learn that concept. You start off davening wanting what you want, but if you're going to do it right, and you're going to say Tillim, and you're going to slowly form a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shlem, so if you continue on, if you leave go or drop, then what's going to happen is that you're going to enjoy the relationship with the Rebbeinu Shlem, and somewhere midway of davening, you're going to feel, you know something, I feel so good that I'm in Rebbeinu Shalom's hands that help me. I should feel it. We mentioned the posik, the Malbim, L'cho Omar Libi Bakshu Fonoi. My heart, as a basket inside me that tells me in middle, you know something? I want the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what I want. And the reason for that is because a person Bemis wants that, but a person can't feel it. So while a person davens, it helps a person slowly, it's exercise for a person to, yes, feel the inner feeling of rotzen to become close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and davening is going to expose that, and then you're going to want what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants. That's the real mahalach of davening. Then we said that even in a shtadlus it's possible, this concept. This is like step 2. Shtadlus would mean that a person brings out his koiches, his neshama gets revealed. And then a person is happy to do what you're supposed to, happy to comply to what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants, because when a person doesn't reveal the koiches, they're in a matzav of atzlus. And a matzav of atzlus is the rotzen that they have in the form of goof. When a person is not ba'atzlus and the Bemis is giving it all they got, then they feel the inner koiches, and the inner koiches they want that neshama. When it gets exposed, you want what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants, and you're happy. And the Rebbeinu Shalom it's also kalim the Rebbeinu Shalom should send shefa, because when the neshama is revealed, then it's like kalim for to be able to get shefa.
So that means the person's davening for when he's sick, and that it reveals in the shoma, and at the end he feels if Hashem wants me to be sick.
So let's take that and apply it to what you're getting to what we're learning, because that's Be'etzem life. With the Shtadlus and Tefillah were the previous shiurim that we learned, and now let's see how that works when a person is struggling for life, struggle for Chaim. So if we try to understand, we never really discussed this. There's a deep, or the deepest rotzen that a person has is for Chaim itself. People want house, they want money, they want fame, all kinds of Sachen. But the rotzen for life, we know and we see that it's stronger. Because the biggest raya is that when a person is faced in a situation which he has to choose, they'll always choose life. From where does it come from? Why is that? And it's even when people are suffering. Push comes to shove. Even if they talk some way or another, but they want to live. What's the pshat? It comes from if it's something so deep, it means it's not Gashmis. It means it's something much deeper than that. If we try to analyze it, even when a person has a desire for food, or desire for any type of tainug, it's because that's a mahalach how they feel alive. That's why they want that. When a person is depressed, they don't want to get up in the morning. But a person is never going to be like, when they, something, I wish I could go to sleep. They're never going to say that. When they're so tired, they say, I can't, I need to get some rest. But when they have a trukah, they have a desire, they're young and energetic, when I get older, I'm going to make all the money that I want, and then I'm just going to sleep for 18 hours. It's not. Why? Isn't it like a form of goof? You don't want the goof. People don't want the goof. People want to feel Chaim. They don't know how to feel Chaim itself. So when they awaken, if it's taste buds, if we're going to say it like that, when they awaken deep emotion, then they want that very, very badly. Temptations and Sachen. They want something that the last time they experienced, when they went through whatever they went through, so they felt something very deep, they want it again. Some people could pinpoint Ruchni Yizdik, but they're not in a level they should be able to have it B'Torah Tefillah, but they could say, they can't forget, they were once by the tzion of this and this tzaddik, and it was like someone was singing, they felt something major. I can't explain what I felt. Well, you can't explain it, but it was some type of Chaim that you felt because something woke up. something that was dead, something that you've never felt, but you felt yourself. You didn't feel something from outside. You felt yourself. Something triggered it.
In the lower level, the people who do dangerous things, mountain climbing, jumping, they say afterwards they felt alive.
They felt alive, and this is what's negaya for you. This moshel in this year is not only a moshel. He's saying that the people that they do very dangerous things, and they asked him, why would you do that? And Bemis, it's a question. It's Bemis, a question, because it doesn't make sense. But the smarter people of them, which they don't understand, they want people to the applause. The smarter people, they Bemis think, and then they say, I felt that when I did something meshuga, I felt alive. That's what they say. That's exactly what they say. So everything boils down to there's a deep rot in the person that's Chaim. And a person is looking for that Chaim. The flights are full. There's no empty seat now, July, August. People are looking and going and spending, and they're looking for Chaim.
Even for Averas,
His Abu Taiva. Sure. The reason why, what's the yesod of Ma'im Genuvim Yom Teku and the yesod of all deep Averas? It's a deep emotion of pleasure that what is that? Kasas Ma'azbazan is tangible. That's Chaim. That's what it is. It's just coming from such a low place. That's what it is. So, 1 second. So let's take the Chovis Alvovas for a second. And let's understand what's happening here. A person understands that he's going through danger. Lama verstehen. If Hashem tells Shmuel to go through this road, but it's a dangerous road, you should know it's a Shchicha Hazeka. If it's a Dvar Mitzvah, Shchicha Hazeka that could happen there. Now, if something awakens in the person, they say, I don't want to die. Or when the doctor says something, let's use that example, because it's more, unfortunately, it's more negeya. The doctor calls the family into the room and says, listen, I have to break the news. This and this is the matzav. Now let's understand what's happening. The doctor says 50-50. Mind starts racing. What's the mind racing? I can't, no, I don't want to drop this world. Why? What's so amazing? The bank, the bills. What is so amazing? The manal that called you about your son. Let's analyze it. It's something, So all this is snarshkeit. He wants to live. But now look at the levels of people and watch what they're going to say. They don't even chap what they're going to say. But if a person is the schwachste level, so you hear his spaden by the Levias, they say, we drank, we ate, he had such a good time, he was such a fun guy. He used to be able to do what? Crazy things, and they can't say anything more than that, but there's I'm not going to have it again. There's a deep pain, a longing that we're not going to be able to have fun anymore. We're not going to be able to laugh. He had such a good sense of humor. What's the Yesod? The Yesod is because that's where they met Chaim. Something that's like more than sleeping. Something that's like, he was a leverage guy. He's so that they could say it at that level. And the person himself, when he thinks that what do you have to drop? Why do you want to live so badly? So he has to drop that. Level 2. Let's try to climb. A person says, what do you mean I have family? I have my children. I love them. I don't want to depart. How could it be? That's his darg over life. Take it to the next step. What do you mean? What are my children? My children are going to need a father, a mother. Level 4, that's where it starts becoming more like Ruchni is the Nusach. I feel I didn't chaparah in Torah mitzvahs. I still want to do so much. I want to do tshuva. I'm not ready to go. It goes levels and levels. But what's the top? What's the pintle? Where do we get to? The real Chaim of the neshama is not Chaim here. It's Chaim when it's fakert, when it's Davik to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's the real Chaim. The reason why the neshama wants Chaim, why do people have such a desire to live? It's because the neshama knows, remembers what Chaim is, and it's looking for it. And if the neshama feels that it's getting less, it's like a trauma upon trauma, that it's bad enough that the neshama came down to this world, now it's not going to be able to do this anymore, you're taking away this, neshama can't handle that. The neshama is looking for Torah, for Tefillah, for Dveikus, for Shabbos, for Chesed. When a person, that's what you see, when a person gives for others, they feel alive. Take the marshal, simple, olive base. When they give and they produce, they feel alive. Why? Because the neshama is when they feel, you feel the neshama, feel alive. Less of the neshama is more depressing, less of this chaim that there is. So now, when that person is in a struggle, because they're in a danger, because they're in a matzav that they feel, what do you mean? I want to live. I want to live. So now let's take the malch. If the person is going to go into anxiety, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take that, and the pills and sachen, and they said this, and it means I'm talking about the state of mind, not what they're doing. The state of mind, then they're going to be torn apart. Mom is torn. Why? Because they're trying to fight above.
They use the lotion, I can beat this.
Right.
I can beat this.
You're strong enough. He's a fighter. He's a fighter, but what are you trying to fight? If you want to fight the Ratzon from the Rebbeinu Shalom, and you want to stay alive, even if the Rebbeinu Shalom said no, so now what's going to happen is the person is going to feel less of Chaim. They're going to die from Dagmas Nefesh. And many people do that. It's very painful to say it. Many people when they get a Yediyah, what they do is they kill themselves. And not suicide officially. But what they do is that they fight the Ratzon HaPnimi of theirs because of the Ratzon HaChitzoni. The same, like we said in the previous shurim, there's the Ratzon in its original tzura, in that form, and then there's the Ratzon how the goof feels it. The person gets exposed to their Ratzon from their goof. The goof wants to be alive. I want to be able to eat again. I don't want to be nauseous. I want to have a good time. Not always in such a low level. I'm saying that's the tzura, how that Ratzon of Chaim comes out in the goof mahalach, in that sprach. And when that happens, then it's a massive fight with the Ratzon of the person. The Ratzon of the person just wants to be Rebbeinu Shalom. And because the Ratzon wants Rebbeinu Shalom, the Ratzon for Chaim. So now, if they do it in that mahalach, they live in a conflict. So they get depressed. So they say, you know what, I thought I could beat it, I give up. Because if the goof can't, then I give up. What did the Rebbeinu Shalom want? The Rebbeinu Shalom wanted that a person should be able to bring out the Ratzon HaPnimi for Chaim and expose it on the right way. The neshomas shukah to Chaim. Not easy, and it's not simple what we're saying now. But it goes along with the Yesod, because if not, then we can't understand what a person is supposed to do. So we need more time to analyze it, how that works. But again, first in simple language, what the Rebbeinu wants a person to do is to do a shlichus of a mitzvah. The same halach, like a person was given a shlichus to try to save Ruvain or Shimon. So they have chiyas, they're going down to the hospital, they're trying everything they could to save that person. While they're doing it, they feel very good. Take the outsider. If that person is nifted, that person Bemis feels bad, Bemis feels bad. But that's not the point. The point is while they're doing it. Here is the nakuda. The Askin, which decided to Bemis try to help, and he makes phone calls, and he goes in the middle of the night and makes a big cholim, and he Bemis, how does he feel while he's doing that? He feels fulfilled. He feels Chaim. The Chavos HaLevavos clearly states here in Perek Dalet that the mahalach that a person is supposed to work with when they're in danger is like they're an outsider. That's the mahalach. Picture an outsider how he's working and working, but he's not torn because of it. He's fulfilled. Why is that? Because right now, what he's doing is he's in the middle of being noisin chaim. So why would that tear him apart? Forget. If he has a yeshiva das, if he's an older person, he's figured out not to do things not in proportion. He davens in the morning, and then he gets back to all these phone calls. He does it like with yeshiva das. He feels like he's helping people live.
What does asking him to lose though at the end of the day?
Avada. It means it's much easier to say it as an ashir as to be able to feel it. But it's the first step in starting to understand it. We're watching someone that's exposed to such a zach, and he's working for it. He's invested. He's invested in trying to get the person to help the person stay alive. And he has a Shabbos and a Yontif.
So you get the diagnosis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling you, take care of this person who's weak.
So now, the concept, this is the same you said, because we have no other mahalach. As hard as it is to slowly to bring it to our conscious, such a mahalach, how a person would feel about themselves like that, but if a person would be doing tefillah and ishad the right way, they would slowly inch up to try to be able to get to such a mahalach. But the idea is, Abisha gave me a shlichus, let me do the shlichus, picking up phones, this and that. They're busy. Now, I want to show you an interesting example, another example of many people. One of them I didn't watch physically, but I chamid gehalten. But many people like that, people that are busy being a noisin till the last minute. So we just had Reb Gershon, but Reb Gershon, you could say that maybe he didn't know that this is mamash the matziv of his agam, that it was very, very serious, and he knew it's very, very serious, but he was focused. Forget about the chilek that he was learning, Torah. He was focused on his shlichus right now. I have to give shir. So if I have to give shir, I have to give shir. So he had Yeshiva Das, and he had Chaim until the last minute. It's a perfect example, happens to be. But I meant another example that wasn't Dafke Torah. By Torah, it's the biggest form, because I have to do it. I'm in the middle of doing a job for somebody else. Rabbi Yisrael Pilchik, I think I once mentioned it. It's 19 and a half years. He was in Beis Kislev, Tavshin Samach Daled. I just remembered, there's a boy here in Eretz Yisrael. He just got married. He just got married here, and he was born with the arteries of the heart. The arteries were, instead of one big one, it was like 20 small ones. They had to make a huge operation. I think it was $150,000 then, back 20 years ago. And there's a little baby of a few months old. And the grandfather of this boy, a good friend of us, a good friend of ours, he went to America, and he was trying to see what he could do, such large amount of money, to save the child. And he didn't go, he looked there, looked there. So he went, he heard that this Rabbi Yisrael Pilchuk was laying in bed, and it's a matter of a few days, a day or two, till the doctor said it's all basically over. So he turned and he asked him, Rabbi Yisrael was laying in bed, he said, what's the story? Why are you here? It's Yisrael the Gang Yaman. He told him the story. He said, oh wow, so what are you up to? How much money did you make? He said, I don't know. He called his son-in-law and he told him, I want you to make a meeting by my bedside. Motzei Shabbos was, and 25K. He made them give large amounts of. He shoved the home money. This little boy just got married, that little baby, and I remember he made phone calls. He himself made phone calls. It was Sunday and Monday. He was left on Wednesday, and he said, "Listen, I'm mistamah my last phone call you're getting from me. I need to have $10,000 for this, and 1 second I also have to remove this. I need to. I beg you. It might be our last." And then he was at a beautiful, beautiful Ptira. They were singing by his bed, and he even with his hand going along, and they were singing Nagunim, and they were gefuldig Yeshiva Das, murder ge'easer. Now, it's a very big Yesoid. It's not stam stories. It's a murder Yesoid. When a person is in the middle of being a noisim, why are they with Yeshiva Das? If they're doing it right, not only the besimcha, it's simcha and Yeshiva Das. That's because your neshama is exposed. And when that happens, you're good. I'm fine. Because my neshama is in its place. It's not fighting. It's not fighting. Watch people that they're in such a matziv. Even mothers for children, when there's if the mother is in the middle of being a noisin, no matter in which matziv the mother is, she's now focused. Focus on giving, so they can't think about themselves. The interesting Yisoid is, and the Chavis Avavas takes it to an extent that even when a person is focused on themselves, they shouldn't be focused on themselves. But the way to get there is to focus on giving for others. As the more a person gives for others, then they could feel that when they're learning Torah, it's not about themselves. They have to give for their neshama. If that's the case, when they're calling the doctor, they're doing a shlichus. Now, I want to say something about what you said before. Like, asking has nothing to lose. You know what's fascinating? And this is the pintle that brings it the most mekarev to the emes, to the reality of life. You don't have to invent a madrega to be able to feel like that. Don't worry. The neshama knows that feeling. It's there. That's what's so fascinating. If you're only going to be doing the right mahalchim, you're going to feel it. That's what's fascinating. Because in the beginning of this year, when we mentioned such a zach, it's like, it's so far. Like, try to be like an asking. Who cares? You might make it, a person might die, it's good. So, all's good. They say, also, gelebt, gestorben, abi gesund. You know, it doesn't make any sense. But if you watch people that did that, what they do, not 100 years of Horavanya, of a Madrega, of they were like Malacha. The word is, what were they doing? If you're in the middle of giving, a person's in the middle of giving, then they're Nasuda. You know what another example which you watch? Hatzolah members, firefighters, which know that they're endangering themselves to try to help others. Now, many times they were doing the right zach when they were doing that, and they weren't even doing it from desperation or from losing Yeshiva Das. They were doing what they're supposed to do. Look at those people. Watch those people that they run out when Chas v'Shalom Zayin Piguim, and they know that they have a gun, and they run ahead to confront the terrorist, which is running around shooting. Think about it. Bemis, let's think about it. What's the yesod from that? What's the yesod? The yesod is that they're giving now. They switched around the moyach, and they understand the matzav that they're in, and they do yeshiva many times. It's a moed yeshiva das because they have to know what they're not running. They're running, but they're focused. Sure, they're calculated. Fakert. They're using every fiber of their essence now to be focused, to be able to do what they're supposed to be doing when they're in the biggest danger. What's the yesod? Look across the board, you'll see that the people that are busy being a noisim, it has the koyach to overpower all the machshavas. Yeshiva Das. You remember Roy Klein? Remember that name? I think that was in Lebanon, right? It was 18 years ago. It was now in the summer. It was be'erich 18 years ago. Less. It was 17 years ago. There was a Rosh from a whole. He had under him. He was a mefaket. He had under him a bunch of chayalim, and they and the Lebanese, they threw the Hezbollah, they threw a grenade, and he saw that if it's going to reach its destination, it's going to kill out all his soldiers. He jumped ahead, absorbed it, said Shema Yisrael, said with the Yishuv Shema Yisrael, in order to save them. And he died. Al Gid Hashem. It's Mises that l'choire, if we're not learning the concept, the topic, it's stories of such Bala Madrege that it can be. It can't be. It's 50 years of avoid Hashem. Something doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. But the nekuda that does add up is that when a person is focused on their shlichus, and there's so stark focus on the shlichus, what they're supposed to be doing, what they're supposed to be producing, it's a stronger rotzen than the rotzen to be alive. It's a fact. So what does the Eibishter want from us? He wants us to be very calculated what the Eibishter's rotzen is. But that means what the shlichus is. That means it's a void of a person. Now, it's true. I'm going to mention it because if someone thinks, they're going to ask the question. It's emes that in Tzava, they train them how to be focused on their tafkid. But that's supposed to be a wake-up call for us, how we should learn how to live such a type of life. The life of being focused on my shlichus, what I'm supposed to be doing. They say that the Tolas Aaron Rebbe Zechron Levrocha, there was read the paper they had in one of these Satmar papers. They had Sender Deitch, famous writer from Satmar back in the day. He had a column in the paper that he was explaining all the Milchama Machshava, the strategy, the strategic mahalchim of the Nazis, what they were planning to do, what were they doing, and Tolas Aaron would read it every week. So they asked him, why are you so interested? So he said that you have to learn tachsisei milchama from seeing how milchama works. So you're supposed to copy that with the Milchamas Hayetzer. So I want to know ideas and concepts how to fight the Yitzhahara. It brings a person more the gesipuk, more the gechaim, and it doesn't bring. It brings a person chaim bazeh and chaim bebo, and not like the marshal we just gave or the story we just gave that a person is going to have to give up his life because he's living like punkt verkehrt. What the right thing is to do, that in every situation a person is supposed to have a clarity al pi Torah, but they're laser focused on their shlichus. They're focused on the tafkid. I can't stop my tafkid. I have to continue doing my tafkid till the last second. If a person learns how to do that, then they live until the last second. They live. But it's more than that. They're also going to have a Yichas Yomim because that's the Ratzon Hashem. The Ratzon Hashem is that a person should feel alive, enjoy life. You enjoy life when a person is focused on the tafkid. It's the opposite from what's mentioned Meinen. People think, I can't be so naive because I can't be focused on my tafkid because I want to have some time for myself. It's a punkt verkehrt. Many people that Reb Gershon, they said that he used to not give shiurim ben azmanim, but then he said he realized that every time he didn't give shiurim, he was sick. So that's it. That was then. Every day, Shabbos he gave a shir, ben azmanim he gave a shir, and the Eibishter helped him that the last day he gave a shir, prepared the shir. That was. But it's also psychological yesod. People that are noisim, sometimes they feel that I want to take a break from being a noisim. Let me chill. Let me just not do anything. If they're machshava people, and they look back, they'll see it wasn't more geschmack. Taking vacation. I don't work for the next 4 weeks. He's going to Switzerland. Where's he's going? What do you do there? Nothing. It doesn't feel like anything. It tastes like it's nothing. person maybe needs a change of scenery. Gesundheit. So now you should do there, and now you should do back this. But it's a machine that if you're not a noisin, you're not alive. So Reb Gershon realized that early on. He said, "Why do I have to waste my life with a sheker?" But if a person lives like that, then there's no, the shlich has changed, no problem. So now we have to do this. So they learn, they get exercise. They learn how to be alive. And then even when they're in danger, okay, so what do we need to do? Shlich is like this, shlich is like that, shlich is for a child. At the hospital, they always are on the go to do what's right, and it makes them feel more close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Okay, they need a lot of Yeshua Das.